Hi, my name is Jason Harris, and welcome to my Capstone portfolio presentation. This presentation is going to show you my knowledge and use of expected outcomes in the technical communication program at Arizona State University. Come on along as I show you my slides and what I've learned. In this presentation, I'm going to go over the expected outcomes for technical communication as set by our instructors. We'll show knowledge of how each of the following expected outcomes were achieved through my work in the program, through an analysis of the artifacts that we have available in rhetorical knowledge, critical thinking, reading and writing, processes, and knowledge of conventions. With the following artifacts, I'm going to go over and define with each one how they fit the rhetorical knowledge desired outcomes. Artifact 1 was a college course poster for the history of landscape design. My defined purpose here was to identify an example of landscape architecture and present it in a clean-looking poster. And this poster would be used for students the following semester, or as an advertisement for students the following semester to take this course. And I expected students kind of milling around the campus to see it as they walk by. I made this poster visually appealing and kept the information succinct. The format and structure also fit the rhetorical situation by focusing on a defined purpose when creating this poster. My audience was able to recognize this poster and quickly decide if they might have interest. With the fonts and image, I was able to use conventions of structure and format as well as a level of formality. Rhetorical Knowledge Artifact 2 is a zoo brochure. It's the inner half. And this flyer is for all ages and really tries to speak as easily to young as to old, yet still be fun to look at and read. It gives it the appropriate tone and format for its audience, as well as showing writing for multiple genres in one flyer. This set of instructions for Adobe Lightroom topics for photographers is documentation for the Adobe Photoshop product Lightroom. It's a genre which lends itself to step-by-step instructions and lots of graphics. Knowing readers respond to easy to follow and scan instructions as they move through the page also helps shape the document. It also gives rhetorical evidence in its organization, presentation, and communication of information to a range of audiences. One genre represented here among the multiple genres is a theme tailored to youth and getting kids excited about the zoo and the elephants. The bright colors and big elephant are a response to the need of my audience, and I think it really stands out visually because of that. In creating the new homepage for the Western Fields Library, I had to integrate my previously held beliefs with those of the community for whom we were making this web page. I made several assumptions which turned out to be wrong. I was able to revise what I believed would work well based on feedback. Based on this information, I was able to recognize and understand or analyze the language and information to produce improved information on my page. With this web page, I'm also able to address a range of purposes and genres for and with my audience. Our conflict resolution solution assignment, we worked as a group to create a solution software, learning to make an entrepreneurial pitch. We used the internet and some book information to organize, present, and communicate to a range of audiences. In this situation, we are responding to the rhetorical with sales information designed to sell technology. We'll now move to the critical thinking, reading, and writing outcomes. And I have some artifacts following here, which will hopefully prove that I've been able to master this part of the program. The The first one here is the Western Fields Public Library again, and in creating that homepage for the library, I started with something completely different than what was seen here. I had to go through multiple drafts and iterations to complete and get this page and text created correctly. And it also took some structural change to become a complete document. In this group feasibility report, we used information gathering and writing along with communication to learn and think about what a feasibility report should be. And each of us used the information we were able to get and piece it together to create this whole report. Now, this graph, well, I'm calling it a graph. It was developed to illustrate the information I was using about dog euthanasia. I was unaware of the wrong number of dogs euthanized and had to change my previously held beliefs and assumptions based on this new, to me, knowledge. This small group memo shows the attempt to understand relationships as they stood socially and culturally related to the information we have as for students working together in the future. Writing and gathering and collaborating about information and technology and writing about it. The collaborative aspects needed in this outcome were met with this value network diagram, as three of us collaborated here and were able to put this diagram together. Since we each did different parts in this document, we were able to balance each other's contribution and then fit them together coherently in the way a value diagram should be. Considering the customer background and socioeconomic status, as well as a cultural idea of what might or might not work. My interview with a sustainable farmer was another moment to challenge previously held beliefs and assumptions and assimilate the knowledge and information I gained from another person into, well, in this case, an interview on a page, but a report and information that might be easy to learn from. In this usability report, two of us were able to analyze and understand what users on a website thought of page functionality. We produced a test and then organized and disseminated the information. We each had a series of tasks leading up to the data collection, and we were able to analyze and synthesize multiple data points into one final set of information. We had users' tests that varied in content and format. Now on to the processes. In this section, we will go over the outcomes and define what I've done to show that I know the process outcomes well enough. I'm sorry, that was an awkward stop. In this collaborative entrepreneurial diagram, we were able to each to take part and execute our specific responsibility. When we put this document together, we were able to coordinate and critique each other's efforts. My individual proposal involved researching and writing strategies appropriate to the proposal TriWest would need to implement my plan. I used the internet and knowledge of the company to access and retrieve the information and create the proposal. Our two-person usability report allowed us to use technology to administer a test and collect data for our report. We were able to use a few different methods to administer the test, in person and completely online. Both of these strategies work to generate the data, revise and help, and we're able to proofread it and coalesce it into a document. Creating the tests for our usability reports took understanding the social aspects of our test subjects. As we worked through this process, we changed some of our thinking and even incorporated a second test to alternate with the first one. Okay, now we're going to go through knowledge of convention and the outcomes defined for it. In this case, In this artifact, we were able to drive the outcome using a common format for sales fact sheet and developing the knowledge of this genre's conventions and page pitch structure. We were also able to understand the use of legal and ethical issues with copyright and intellectual property with the images we created and were able to use from other sources that were free to use from other sources. With this sales pitch, we were able to show genre convention of structure and appropriate tone for our audience, as well as a means of documenting our work and controlling syntax, grammar, and spelling. This page also shows appropriate use of standards, laws, policies, and accepted practices for this type of document. This artifact provided a chance to use a format expected in a user profile. I was also able to consider the legal ramifications of using my own photo in this case. In this assignment, we worked as a group to create an executive summary for a solution software and learn to make an entrepreneurial pitch. This outcome was achieved after learning the tools and formats used to document and present a business idea. We used appropriate conventions for paragraph structure and tone. We were also able to understand the use of legal and ethical issues with copyright and intellectual property. On this page, I was also able to show genre convention of structure and appropriate tone for our audience, as well as a means of documenting our work and controlling syntax, grammar, and spelling. This rhetorical analysis allowed me a way to document our work and the structure of the document. In doing this, I was able to show ability to control syntax, grammar, punctuation, and spelling. And finally, this is a discussion on copyright and fair use from TWC 421. I'm able to discuss intellectual property and copyright use in and around technology. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I hope I was able to prove that I've been able to achieve the outcomes set forth for us in the technical communication program at Arizona State University. My name is Jason Harris. Thank you.